Ladies and gentlemen, the second individual who I would like to invite to the stage is someone who I think needs no introduction. We all know who he is. We all know the contributions that he has done. What I wanted to speak about, at least for a moment, is why I think Jermaine Jackson is actually also so important. He's one of the few artists who I think really has succeeded, as I said, of transcending international borders of all kinds, but in doing so has had a commitment to also bringing people together, breaking stereotypes, and actually trying to make sure that we're always rethinking things. I always say, one of our goals of the Institute for Cultural Diplomacy is not necessarily to teach anything, but to try to get individuals to think differently about this issue or that issue. And I think really through your music, through your contributions, as well as through the many performances that you've done and international engagement, I think you've spent probably equally the amount of time outside of the borders of the USA as inside the USA. And I think when you go, you're taking much more with you. As we look at it, not only, again, your music, but I think here also of the contributions of your family. I think Michael Jackson, we would all agree, probably has been the strongest example of really an artist who has really impacted everything in terms of music, I think in every form today, in terms of dance, in terms of film, in terms of really culture in every sense. I think you could easily actually make the case that he actually has influenced, I think, every aspect of culture. One of our board members, his name is Robert O'Meally, professor at Columbia University, actually wrote a book called The Jazz Cadence of American Culture, essentially showing also the impact of music such as jazz and rock and roll on actually American culture and identity in every sense. So in that sense, tonight we really wanted to pay tributes in particular to you as an artist, but much more you as a cultural diplomat, for someone who shows that we can do much more, that being a performer, being an artist at the highest level, such as you and such as all of the members of your family, is not enough. And actually you can actually do much more. We're very, very grateful to engage with you in the framework of the advisory board. We're grateful for you having joined also the advisory board of the Institute. And I think it's a very strong potential today in particular to really work together with the field of music, with the field of culture, to try to break down barriers. As was mentioned earlier by President Zapatero, unfortunately, we do not live in a world without walls. And unfortunately, every day we are reminded, as some of the presentations earlier today, and of course, here we are in Berlin celebrating the fall of this wall. What we must keep in mind, the Berlin Wall, when it fell, did not fall by tanks or missiles or torpedoes. It fell by private individuals with hammers and chisels who wanted to get to the other side. That would be really what we at the Institute would consider, as well as Professor Joseph Nye at Harvard University, a success of smart power, this combination of actually attraction as well as threat. Yes, the threat of mass destruction on both sides of the Cold War played a big factor, but that allowed for the rock and roll and for the jazz and for the culture to transcend the borders. One of our advisory board members a few years ago, Ambassador Simeoni, the former Hungarian ambassador to the USA, said very eloquently, as a child growing up in Hungary behind the Iron Curtain, rock and roll had more of an impact on him than politics. And I've heard many stories such as that. That was the language he communicated in by receiving the music as well as by playing the music. So just as a few examples of the tremendous power, not only of you, Jermaine Jackson, but also of music, is really perhaps the most powerful vehicle to transcend borders that still exist today. What I very much hope is also in our framework of the collaboration that we can continue to break down borders, in particular in conflict zones and post-conflict zones, where traditionally there hasn't been so much engagement for culture diplomacy. Next year, we're going to be doing a major event in Rwanda, looking at the impact of culture diplomacy in post-conflict situations, where I think there's a tremendous potential for building reconciliation and trust. And as we were discussing earlier, in terms of Cyprus and also the Middle East, much is in store in 2015 in the Middle East. It's difficult, it's challenging, one must be very sensitive and careful when engaging, but we really do believe if there is a chance for building understanding and trust, we really think culture diplomacy is that chance. So Mr. Jermaine Jackson, we are so honored that you chose the occasion to come on the occasion of 25 years of the fall of Berlin Wall to Germany, by giving this honor to Berlin, by giving this honor to Germany, and also by giving this honor to the Institute for Cultural Diplomacy. We really, really appreciate that. We congratulate you for the tremendous successes that you have achieved so far, which are far too great to mention on this podium, and we are convinced of the very, very strong potential for your voice to continue to also bring individuals together who normally wouldn't come together and to transcend borders that perhaps have not yet transcended by politics or economics. I would like to ask you to please join me on the stage, and I would like to ask everyone to please give a very, very warm congratulations and also gratitude, expression of gratitude to Mr. Jermaine Jackson. like to, if you would allow me to give you the honor of reading briefly also this award that we are giving to you on behalf of the entire board of the Institute for Culture Diplomacy as a commemoration for the contributions that you have made, not only to the field of culture diplomacy, but actually international peace and global politics as a whole. The Voice of Culture Diplomacy Award. In honor of your distinguished contribution and dedication to the global community, we hereby present Jermaine Jackson with this certificate of excellence. The Institute for Cultural Diplomacy recognizes your commitment to strengthening the global community with the power of music. Through your music, you have helped us all to aspire to a world without walls. Your success in easing Cold War tensions, and by your continued efforts to unite people of the world, you have proven yourself to be a champion of peace. Your noble actions have established you as a leading figure in the field of culture diplomacy, and we are very honored to have the chance this evening to give you this award as a small contribution, a small token of our tremendous appreciation for you, as well as the contributions of the entire Jackson family. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in expressing our sincere congratulations and gratitude to Mr. Jermaine Jackson. Okay. I'm going to shake your hand as well. Okay. Thank you again so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. I'd like to thank the ICD for such a wonderful evening and seeing many different faces and cultures and people in general. But before I start, I would like to share our story with all of you to know who we are as a family, because there have been so many books written that are unauthorized. I wrote a book last year called Michael, You're Not Alone, Through a Brother's Eyes, to give a true documentation as to who he was and who the family is. By starting out, I would like to say we grew up in Gary, Indiana, in a home the size of a two-car garage. And in that house, there was one bathroom, and I'm one of 9 siblings. And what was most important is my mother and my father instilling the love and the morals and principles in us. And of course, we believed in God, and my mother raised us as a Jehovah's Witness, but then as we grew older, we got a chance to travel the world through music. But before then, we were around the house just making noise as children till my father saw that we had a talent, and he got behind us and he cultivated that talent, not knowing that we were going to be ready for the world stage. So we started out like everybody else, having dreams and goals and ambitions and wanting to be like a lot of the other artists that we were influenced by, until we got our break, and we came to Motown Records in Detroit, and we met Berry Gordy, and he said to us, we're going to get 3 #1 records on you guys, and we're not going to let anybody see you. And it happened like that. So we had I Want You Back, ABC, Stop Your Love You Save, and I'll Be There. And 2 of those records knocked the Beatles out of the #1 spot twice, which we are very proud of, because we were just these kids from Gary, Indiana, trying to make a life for ourselves. But what we found that it was most important to have the love from the parents, and they will always teach us, you may take from the garden, but you have to put back. You have to cultivate it, to make sure that there's enough for the following year that it comes back and it grows. And we didn't understand that, but that was a lesson to be learned in life. So when we started singing, we were very fortunate enough to have had success, and our music transcend many different barriers. We found that music became a universal language. We've had so many people who walked up and tell us we learned how to speak English because of the Thriller album. We learned how to love, or we had children because of this song and that song. But to tell you how we feel, we never forgot where we came from. And we look at music as something that's transpired all different barriers, races, and religions, and brought peace together through the message. And in 1989, a quarter of a century ago, I released an album called Don't Take It Personal. It seems a long time ago, but now the music remains, which is what music does. It lasts, it endures, it provides its own legacy, its own history. And you, the people of Germany, provided your own enduring legacy in 1989, that of peace, unity, and cooperation. In 1989, I was also seeking something in my life where I became a Muslim. I made the journey to Mecca, and because of, I felt that my life needed to be complete. And I embraced Islam, and I felt that I became a better father, better brother, better friend, better son, better uncle. But during that time, we all stand here today with minds that can vividly flash back to that euphoric November day when you, the people, made revelation happen, when East and West reached out and held hands together, torn down the wall. You're the example of people power. Remains just as inspiring today as it was back then. It is my privilege to mark that momentous occasion with you all, never forgetting the will and the tenacity it required. Today, sadly, many barriers still exist in the world. In most cases, these barriers remain invisible, built on ancient divides between people, built on hate, misunderstanding, or fear. As I stand here today, it remains my hope that the world can look back and look to Germany in 1989 and see what can be achieved if we focus on what unites us, love and humanity. Germany once stood divided. Today, Germany stands as one. Its people showed the way. Its people, not its politicians. Force change for the good. That is what we should never forget. We are one. We all have a voice. And when those voices speak as one, we're the music of the world. And I would like to say, with our music, that was the most driving message in our music. We are the world, man in the mirror. I think my brother said it very clearly. One of the part of the chorus, if you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make a change. And it's very important to change. So I would like to say thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I'm looking forward to being part of the ICD to sort of inject some ideas and to show how we've been very fortunate, very blessed as a family around the world because of our music and because of the message. And I think the message has to be positive. And in order to have a positive message, you would have to have been brought up to have love in your life, God in your life, and the passion to want to see change. And it's not in our hearts that we might do, it's in our minds that we will do. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.